Hi everyone, so I'd like to show off the Daily Driver car pack, and what this is, it's a full set of 8 low poly vehicles that are designed for your mobile game development. They're ideal for racing games, they're ideal for city building games, traffic games, parking games, any other kind of game where you need low poly vehicles. These vehicles have been designed specifically to be unlike any real world vehicle manufacturers' models. So they're a mix of different designs, okay? And by mobile optimized or low poly here, what we mean is, first, the poly count, of course, is optimized and low. Very efficient use of polys and modeling. So these vehicles on average are 800 to 900 polys and about 130 polys for the wheel. So low poly, and the other optimizations are one material for the entire chassis and one shared for all of the tires amongst all vehicles. So if I show some of the textures here, this is the wheel and tires shared for all the vehicles. You can obviously offset UVs on different tires and get different rim look for different wheels. Everything on the rest of the car other than the wheel and the tire is all on a single texture that uses a mask. The masks are separated here for your convenience so that you can go into Photoshop and open the PSD mask and edit it independently of the car texture. At the end of the day, the material, I don't know what this thumbs file is about, at the end of the day the material is only using this one texture right here, okay? And in that material's alpha channel is the actual mask. So you can see that I've separated the masks here just for your editing convenience, and then when you make your changes and complete your changes and fix to the masks, you can then merge it into the diffuse texture and hook it up that way. So let me close that. So one material for the chassis, one material for the wheels, and 2 textures. So very optimal for each vehicle in that regard as well. Also, all of the pivots are properly set on these vehicles so that there are no issues with rotations via code or physics or anything like that. So the tires all rotate exactly around the perfect pivots. Oh, I didn't select just the tire. The perfect pivots for rotations and steering and all of that. And all of the vehicles here, just a few as a sample, they all have a very neat, straightforward, clean hierarchy. Left front wheel, let me find the first vehicle. Left front wheel, yep. Left rear wheel, yep. Right front, right rear. So all very clean hierarchies, clean rotations, clean pivots, and that'll benefit you at the end of the day when it comes to rotating things via code. So we've already shown that all the textures have conveniently separated masks. Let's see. So the shader is also optimized. It's controlling this reflection on the car, the rim lighting, frontal effect, and also where the mask comes into play here. So this is the material. And what it is, it's using a custom shader I created here. And it's very optimized. This is the shader right here. This is as simple as it is. Okay, that's as small as that shader is. And so let's look at what the shader is doing with the material here. So this is this first car's material. I painted all the cars orange just to show you that there are no inconsistencies in the value of the texturing underneath. They're all 128 values of gray and underneath. So if I turn blend amount down, you will see the texture in its true form. They are, if I pull up the vehicle textures again, they are all grayscale. So we are totally laying the color over that grayscale texture. So in this shader, using this alpha mask here in the alpha channel. So going back, has all kinds of lighting effects for lighting on the car, perimeters for color, saturation, and intensity, rim lighting, reflection. It's using a cube map. Right here, I captured this from the demo environment. I'll show you how to do that with this tool that comes in the Unity package you import, render into cube map. Very easy. It'll render your world and scene into a single cube map that you can apply for reflections of like your environment. Like say you have a city, it'll reflect the city and the road around your car. Okay, so that's applied in there. We have rim power, which is basically the intensity of the rim lighting and the reflection. So you can go crazy and the whole car is metallic and blown out with rim lighting, and or you can really tighten it up to where only the very edges receive that rim lighting. We have rim color, which I set to just kind of like a bounced sky color, but if you want to see it working in its extreme form, you set it to an extreme color or something, like red shows up really well. And you'll see, okay, so it's bleeding over a lot of the car here. We can tighten it up just to the edges or fan it out, and you can kind of see its effect that way. I'm going to Z back. Oh God. Okay. So let's bring that down. 4 was a good value. Okay. And also rim color can bring down the intensity as well. So you can tighten it up, but also bring the intensity of it down. It looks a little blown out up here. You could just bring it down like that. However you want to do it. It's a lot of color. So here's the mask coming into play right here. And basically any color we want to set it to. Red, purple, blue. And you can set this main color property via code very easily. So there we go. Crazy neon green. Looks a little blown out, like we're losing some detail, and that's where this color boost will come in. This will allow you to artificially reduce the value, or higher in value or lower in value on this color texture here, in case the lighting in your scene's like really dim, or lighting inconsistencies in scenes. Just kind of go bring it down, make it a little bit more of a natural green, a really dark green, or all the way to no color at all, or blow it out to where it's like cell shaded. You have a lot of options with that. So for this scene in this specific color, that seems to be color boost of 1 seemed pretty good. I'm going to go back to that nice. Actually, no, I'll make it like a nice baby blue. So that's what color boost does. And then blend amount takes us down to the primer, just gray texture with none of the paint on it. So full paint, no paint, full paint, no paint. You get some cool effects if you like let some of the underlying metal show through, and it looks a little bit more metallic. So when we do like, I don't know, let's go back to the blue, right? I kind of like that color. And we get a really light, like powderish, powder blue. So pretty cool. Let's blend back to full blue. And that's basically the material and the shader. We already talked about the chassis and the wheels having all the proper pivots. There's a wide variety of shapes and sizes of vehicles. I mean, just look at this little guy. He's one of those little trendy, modern micro cars, all to real-world scale in meters. So use real-world scale in your project, or scale these accordingly to match. But we have everything from little micro car to like a hatchback, to some kind of hatchback wagon hybrid, to like something like a Ford Explorer SUV, something like a generic rental car, maybe Mercedes, BMW, I don't know, something like a Tesla, and then a pickup truck like my favorite, what I drive. So wide variety in the shapes and sizes of these cars. One of the next things I want to show real quick is that this does work with Unity's built-in Enlighten, so it is working with the real-time lighting. You don't have to use the pre-computed real-time GI or anything like that. On mobile, you probably wouldn't want to. But the ambient source and all of that in the Enlighten system is totally working with this. So you can tweak that and it affects the material and shaders. I would suggest to use a gradient and tweak this to be proper sky color, proper equator color. It's a lot less intensive than using the skybox and sampling an ambient intensity in real time from clouds and all that stuff. Just on mobile, use a gradient, or even better yet, cheaper, use a single sky color. So it does work with Enlighten. So without further ado, I'm going to get rid of this scene and remove the delete temporary scene. What I did as a bonus in this project here to give to you guys is I integrated my own Unity 5 physics package, and I'm going to bring it over here. It's called Unicar, and I was frustrated about Unity 5 and the wheel colliders and everything, so I brought over a lot of my knowledge on doing a lot of wheel collider stuff in Unity 4, and that knowledge paid off in Unity 5, and I was able to actually get vehicle physics in Unity 5 working really good, and it feels really natural. So just check this link for documentation if you want to know more about Unicar. It's right there on my website, fatboxsoftware.com. There's documentation on setting up your own cars. It even links to the YouTube, how to set up your own. You could have bought it standalone, but it's coming for free in this crowdfunding thing. And then there's a PC demo where you get to drive. These are not mobile. These are really high-res models on PC. So all the different things like that Unicar could do. It does monster trucks where you can jump jumps. And I'll show you that functionality. Well, not the actual jumping in this one. Well, maybe. So here's all the prefabs. Everything organized nice and neat. Your visual effects for driving over asphalt, dirt, grass, the skid marks, the water effects. I made prefabs for every single vehicle. So just randomly bring this in. It's already set up. Everything's properly set up with the proper masses and torques. You can go in and completely change these values. You can make the truck insane, accelerate insane. You can adjust its spring. You can adjust the grip for the rear wheels, everything. If you have a UI text here in the new Unity UI, it'll read out the mile per hours for you. This right here will allow you to enable mobile input instantly, and I will show that in a second. And then stabilizer, this is what allows the monster truck and any vehicle like this to jump. It stabilizes it in air and helps bring it down level. Max speed limit is a cap, so maybe the truck can only go so many miles per hour. If you want another car to go faster, then just tweak this value for this prefab, right? And then the audio controller that handles everything from the crashing into object sounds, the wheels slipping on grass, dirt, asphalt, water, even the wind going over the car as you speed up. So it's crazy all the different things it handles. And then of course there's brake lights too that come on that are pretty cool, and they're just a game object in here that uses an additive mobile particle shader, turns on and off a glow. So let's just show it. Also a prefab for a GUI camera here that'll automatically pick up the vehicle in the scene. Let me just open the demo scene and we'll go in here. So there's the camera. Even if your scene didn't have it, you can just drag it in and it's drag and drop. So let me maximize this window up a little bit and just drive around. Oh, so you hear the impact sounds, maybe, I don't know, the engine, and then particle effects and skid marks being kicked up. Nice drifting. These cars drift really well, which you can totally go to the car controller for this car and kind of stiffen up the suspension and handling. This is what it does over grass. I'm going to go over here to the water, and it sprays up water spray. And then is that grass or asphalt? Oh, that's grass again. So we'll go over to the asphalt, and we'll make a different sound and kick up smoke. Kind of cool. We'll go over to sand, and we kick up sand. And you have the option in there of plugging in a different skid marks prefab for sand. I just didn't create any new art, so the skid marks look the same on the sand and the dirt. Very simple. If you have your collision for your different sections, the way that works is just by tag. It detects the tag of the collision under it: grass, dirt, asphalt, water. And just so we don't go crazy with being too intensive on mobile, it uses one wheel collider in the left front. So when the left front wheel touches any surface, that one single wheel, that's where it detects the tag underneath. Oh, I'm not sure if I showed the brake light. So Yeah, so there's the brake lights when you brake. And then I promised to show the reflection thing. So if you want to capture some kind of reflectivity for the car in your own world, it usually works just to get some generic cloud reflective, your own static cube map that you've got on the internet or something. But it always looks quite a bit better when the car is actually reflecting the real world around it that's around. So the way that we accomplish that is we would just create an object in here somewhere. Let's zero it out, just reset, and kind of bring it up in the world so it captures everything. And let's scale up some of these things, like they would be buildings and trees and things like that. We'll just scale them up so they show up in the cube map better. You don't have to do that, just for demo purposes. And then this is where I'm going to capture the reflection from. So cube map tool, render into cube map. Just drag in where you want to render from, and then drag in your cube map. Now this was empty. This is an empty cube map. Just create your own empty generic blank cube map, and these texture slots will be empty. Once you render it, that's when it'll fill them in. Okay, so it rendered all the reflections from this one spot. So something interesting you'll see that I did was it rendered right on the hood of the car, and I left the car in the scene. So here's the really funny, neat thing, is the car will actually reflect in itself now. If I go and look at it, and there's the car reflecting in itself. So one of the things you want to do before we'll bring it up a little bit more too, is render it without the car in the scene, right? Remember to create yourself an empty blank cube map and just render it. You can delete that when you're done unless you're going to keep re-rendering it. And there you go. There's the cube map with all my real world reflections here on this environment. And then re-enable the car, and the car is now not present in the reflected cube map. But the cool thing is, as you can see, the grass, and if we look at it at a glancing angle, you'll see the cubes are in there too. So it's also properly reflecting the horizon and the sky in my scene and all of that. One last thing. This car, as you can see, kind of handles loose and leans and has a lot of body roll. But let's find one that's, I think this one's pretty stiff, and you'll see an example of not a lot of body roll. It's a little stiffer. This is not the vehicle. Then this one, I think. Yeah, so there's a very nice stiff suspension. And I'm not sure if no, we didn't use vehicle 1. Vehicle 1 is the one with the loose, very loose suspension. My bad. So there you go. That's what it looks like when you set the settings on the here with the suspension spring and all of that, nice and loose. So it's pretty cool. You can get some pretty cool handling. Another neat car that handles pretty cool is this little tiny Yoda car. Real sharp turning radius. You could give it some crazy torque if you wanted. I think this car actually, yeah, this car drifts kind of nice. And one of the last things I wanted to show is to enable the mobile support. It's very simple. You have a couple of steps. One, turn on mobile input for this car. Then drag in the mobile GUI, which is just simply 4 sprites that I put event triggers on just to make them a button in a check input script. And basically it just turns your sprites into buttons. You can use any kind of sprite you want. These are just my control arrow sprites. That's not the only thing you need to get the mobile working. You do need to make sure that you have an event system in the scene for the Unity UI, and that way those buttons will work. So you're not going to be able to see me do this, but if I'm clicking the arrows, there we go, we'll go forward and then turn. They're working right now out of the box. So that's mobile support right there immediately for you. It works great, iOS and Android. It's been tested over and over. You don't want mobile and you want PC, turn those off. And then if you leave mobile input on, it'll give you debug log errors, not just asserts, but smart errors that my scripts will tell you. Please make sure there's a mobile GUI present in the scene. So it just tells you that, like, hey, I need to drag in the mobile GUI object. It also tell you please assign the brake button object and all that. Those are the things that exist inside of the mobile GUI object. So just uncheck mobile input if you're not using mobile and you don't have a mobile GUI, and then the PC stuff will work immediately. So I know the video ran a little bit long, but hopefully it demoed all of the things that this daily driver car pack is offering, and I hope that you guys feel like it's a real value. So I hope to hear from you, and please feel free to message me in comments or in the messaging system. Thank you for watching.